Hi, everybody. My name is Shawan Shamsul, and I'm very, very excited that you guys are joining me here today. I'm going to show you guys a couple of things. So, I want to talk to you about our PNC referral program that we put forth in front of PNC agents and agencies and what that results in us having. And then I wanted to show you guys a PDF that we worked on, a white paper that we've worked on that'll show you how to recruit your own PNC agents as well and talk to them about life referrals. And then the last thing is, of course, I want to talk to you guys about Pinney and what it does. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen real quick. Okay, so life insurance referral program. So I think the most important thing to do when you are talking about a program where PNC agents are sending you life leads, the most important thing you could possibly do is talk about the why. This is the family that I found on various websites that had a memorial fund. And the question that I asked to anybody who is in another insurance lines is, do you want to see someone you love crowdfunding their funeral? The obvious answer to that question is no. But what people don't understand is that when you don't have life insurance, there are a bunch of other things that come with it. People lose their mortgage. They get their cars repossessed. Their widows inherit their partner's debt, and their children aren't able to pay for college. It's a disaster. And what most people in other forms of insurance don't understand is that this is what befalls people who don't have this type of insurance. That's important because most people that are in personal lines business, they don't think about that. So when you're talking to them about referrals, that is key. Another thing that I personally have put into all my presentations, especially if there's a lot of women in the room, is death creates poverty, especially in women. So I tell them things like amongst widows without life insurance, 39% struggle to meet their basic needs within the first year. And more than 75% of widows living in poverty had not been poor prior to the death of their husband. Pretty crazy. Now, the number one objection that people who are in personal lines or commercial lines are going to get when they are talking to anybody is, I have it through work. So, as you're presenting to these types of folks, you always want to make sure that they have the right language to talk about that objection up front. We run a call center over at Pinney. If you ever want to bring us cases for a 50-50 split, that's always available to you. But we run a call center here as well. And what we say is, while that's a great start, it's typically not enough. The average company offers 20 to 100K. Is that something enough to cover your mortgage and debts? That's the number one objection that people get. I think once you kind of walk them through that, they're a little bit more comfortable talking to their clients and then referring leads over. This is something I always show them. Life insurance isn't really about life insurance, it's about buying comfort and creating stability. Now, this is something that I just show people who are in other lines of business. Very easy thing for them to do to understand that life insurance is incredibly affordable. You know, if you're going to get 500K in coverage for a 30-year-old, it can be $25 or less if you can get it for a 50-year-old, depending on what you get. You know, these are solutions that cost less than $100 if you're talking about term. So I just let people know it's cost effective. It's cost effective. Also, on top of that, you can go onto Insurio, which is Pinney CRM, and you can run quotes yourself. So that is typically something I would do as well. So I'm going to go ahead and do that real quick so you guys can see it. I think several of you guys are pretty familiar with Insurio, but and let's see. You go into here. You sign in. This is a completely free CRM, by the way. And this CRM not only has the ability to help you write quotes, it will allow for you to take down the actual apps. It'll allow you to send the application in an incomplete form to our application fulfillment team. If anybody has any questions about that, that's an amazing resource. And it has a bunch of other things like pre-built marketing campaigns. But getting to here, you can just jump into here and run a quote. And it's taken a sec to load, but we have term, final expense and IUL. This is powered by multiple different solutions, which is why it's so cool. So it's powered by iPipeline, but we also have Firelight for those of you who are writing a lot of annuities and who are writing a lot of IULs. But going back, I won't run a quote. A lot of you guys know how to do that. That's a completely free software that's available today for anybody who does want to run a quote. So moving further along in this conversation, this is one of our biggest clients. They're a big PNC company, and they have over 1,000 employees. And I use this story to talk to people about the why. The actual employee said that his brother had life insurance from work when he passed away. The mortgage isn't paid for because that life insurance through work isn't enough. College for his kids isn't paid for. He has like 2 or 3 kids. So the question I ask to people who are in commercial lines or personal lines is how could life be any different for his family, right? Moving forward, PNC agents need life insurance because there is a statistical improvement in their quality of business when they have life insurance added. This is measured. So they have retention that grows. They rely on their retention year over year with their insurance. So clients with both PNC coverage are more likely to stay loyal. They stand out for their competitions and their competitors, and then they get those clients first before aggressive other life insurance agents. I used to work at Northwestern Mutual. That's where I got my start in this industry. And I used to call on a Rolodex of people and try to get them to work with me. If you're a PNC guy and you already gave your client life insurance, then obviously they're going to retain all of their lines with you a little bit further. So it's something that's super important. Now, this is where I talk about triggers. So if you want to generate that lead as a PNC person or a commercial lines person, you have to know what triggers should cause you to talk about life insurance. And what I find in my experience in training a ton of personalized people is besides them being kind of shy in talking about life insurance, they might not know when to bring it up. So I listed a couple of these. I think this slide, if you guys are recruiting people or trying to get mortgage officers or PNC people to send you leads, screenshot this and send it to them. Anytime any of this comes up, then they need to be talking about life insurance. So this is going to be obvious to many of you: marriage, divorce, new mortgage, having children, caring for aging parents. That's obviously important. Retirement. But what I notice is that a lot of life insurance people are not talking enough about annuities and cash value accumulation. So at the bottom, I also put in, are they putting money into investments? Are they afraid of not having enough to retire? Great triggers. I also put in, this is something that everybody should screenshot here too. If you're generating a referral, if you're generating a lead, you want to teach people what the best and worst demographics are for personal lines. So that's going to be a majority of what a PNC company does in any case. So married with young children, awesome. Homeowners with a mortgage, awesome. High earners. When I say high earners, I would say, north of 150K in salary. Business owners are huge. I'm about to go on a rant about business owners in a second, but I'm trying to stay on topic. And breadwinners with a non-working spouse. And then the worst demographics, in my opinion, I've sold all of the people with the worst demographics, but under 25 and single, renters, decent, retirees with no financial independence, so on and so forth. This is a matter of opinion, but this is what I find works best. And it's very important to just paint a very clear picture for people. Then we talk about commercial lines, okay? Everybody that I've met in this industry. I interface with a ton of commercial lines people. I interface with a ton of BGA people. People seem to be scared or afraid to crack the egg when it comes to talking to a business partner. And I'm just going to give you a very, very simple framework. Okay. Many businesses have partnerships. There's in the Pinney building right downstairs, there is, I think it's like an accounting firm and there's two partners. That's very, very common. So all you need to do to sell these people a policy is ask the question, hey, if your partner passes away, do you want to work with their wife? And the answer to that question that most people are going to give you is absolutely not. That's all it takes to start the conversation of a buy sell. So once they answer that question, you say, okay, cool. So we have a plan. We can do planning so that if one of you passes away, you get this life insurance policy on the other one, and then you can buy out the other half of the business. We'll do the business valuation for you, so on and so forth. Many business owners have some sort of notion as to what their business is worth. If they don't, you can send them actually to Principal, the carrier, and they will do a business evaluation. But if I could say one thing about talking to business owners about life insurance, it's very important for you guys to know that, that this is something where you just have to talk about the partner. But in any case, there are other things that you could talk about. Key employee, if they have bank loans, if they have succession planning, that's a huge one. Multiple heirs needing estate equalization, that's a huge opportunity. Imagine being a business owner and you have 6, 10 kids, and only one kid is qualified to run the business. Well, what you can do is use an insurance policy that when you die, you give the a value of a share of the business, so to speak, to each of the kids, so that they don't feel screwed out of the family business, right? Really awesome messaging. If you know a business owner, talk about those things. In my opinion, the most popular things is buy sell and estate equalization. I see key employee stuff all the time, but buy sells come in the most. Best in industries for buy sells and key man, and so on and so forth. Professional services such as law firms and CPAs, medical and dental practice. We've sold quite a few. Financial services, tech startups, and construction and engineering firms. These are the worst industries. I've sold insurance to all of these people before, but usually more individual. But this is really, really helpful to people who are looking for some guidance. This is something that one of our agents gave to us that always works. If you are a life insurance agent that is selling directly, he calls it the 3-question close. If you didn't make it home from work tomorrow, what would happen to your family? Is that what you want? And how much do you feel like you can comfortably set aside to solve this problem? And then I have a couple more things. I'm not going to go through all of it to read to you, but if you're talking to a personal lines person, commercial lines person, and you're trying to convince them to give you referrals, this is the type of thing that you could say to get them talking, this client talking. We've made sure your cars and home are covered. Let me ask you this. Does something happen to you? Who would make sure the mortgage and those payments are still taken care of? Oh, I don't know. I don't really have anything for that. Oh, cool. We have mortgage protection insurance, right? You guys have heard that story before. If they have a new baby, talk about life insurance. If they have a new home, life insurance, marriage, life insurance, qualifying events, as you guys know. And then let me forward to you. This section is something that you guys can screenshot and save for your own PowerPoints if you want to. They do, people in the commercial line space do like to know what exactly is offerable to their clients. So I just talked about buy sells. They're incredibly popular. They're the number one most popular type of business insurance that I've seen go in force in my 10, 15 plus year career. And then after that, I might talk to them about Keyman. I've noticed that those types of policies are good for law firms, accounting firms that are small or medium. So Keyman Insurance, we've talked about that. This I've seen, we have solutions for. I haven't seen it done so much in my experience, but using cash value life insurance as a way to reward or retain top employees. That's something that people have done before. If you've had any experience with this, I would love to hear a little bit about this. These are a list of fun phrases that people can say of, if they're talking to a client. And yes, life insurance is a continuity of a fully formed financial plan. So now that we're done with the meat and potatoes of this conversation, I do want to talk a little bit about Pinney. So you guys know that Pinney's bread and butter are life insurance and annuities. We help with business succession planning. We help with retirement. We help with disability. And we help with long-term care plans as well. So if you have a guy and you need case design for any of these things, I'm telling you, we have the best case designer in the industry, one of the best, Paulette Wolf. She will not only give you whatever quote that you need, but she's going to give you an in-depth analysis and even explain to your client what the importance of whatever product line you've quoted is going to be. As a life insurance agent that is looking to grow your business, we're an organization that will help you in your operations, in your marketing. We have pre-built tools like Insurio. And the other thing that really makes us different from other BGAs is that we have an app fulfillment team that will basically allow for you to give us the basic information for a client with as few words as possible. And we call your client and we take down the long app. So if you are a high falutin type of agent that you just want to focus on selling, or maybe you're an IUL guy or an annuity guy and you don't want to deal with all the paperwork, our company will do all the paperwork for you. And that is something that's very different and you guys should take advantage of. We got a question saying, does Pinney provide the life insurance directly or indirectly through a partnered carrier? We work with 50 different carriers. So we're a brokerage. And so we have partnership with all those carriers. Whichever carrier that a client wants or you as an agent wants, we're going to be able to provide you. We do not take any compensation from you. We pass through the compensation and the carrier typically gives us a bonus for bringing in a number of business. And we work with the most important ones in the business, Mutual of Omaha, Prudential, anything that you could see in a football games ads, we work with those. Really good question. I will say I'm not going to go through some of this stuff, but I do want you to understand it because I know several of you guys are thinking about how do I crack this, PNC agency owner egg, meaning how do I get these PNC guys to bring me a ton of business? We've been tremendously exciting about that. So once I kind of go through here's why you should care about life insurance, here's the different types of life insurance, then I go back and I say, hey, by the way, there's term insurance and perm insurance. Because if you start out with that conversation, you're talking about product, and it is always a bad idea to talk about product until you talk about need. So when you're talking in front of a PNC agency, start with the need, end with the product. So a couple of slides here, a couple of this is like a comparison of some of the top carriers that we have. So this is especially good for Gianni. If you were to want to get a life insurance policy through Pinney or a referral of yours, a client of yours, whatever, we would probably send them to these carriers, but we have exclusive partnerships with other carriers. Every different carrier has its different niche. And so in order to give your client the best experience, come to us first. We'll tell you what the best opportunity is. You never want to just choose the cheapest carrier. And with that said, that is the end of my presentation here. I have a guide that I want you guys to have that has all of this stuff in it and more. And in order for you to get that guide, I'm just going to go ahead and put my email on here like this, shamsoul@pinneyinsurance.com. I want you guys to email me asking for that guide. The guide has basically all of the content that you see over here in front of you, plus more. It's in a PDF format. It has all the language. And what I find is that when I sent out that guide to PNC agencies, they were really impressed with what we were doing, and we were able to recruit them. And our call center is at a point where we're getting so many leads from different PNC agencies that we don't even have to buy leads anymore. So it's a really awesome program. And of course, if you are an agent, a PNC agent listening to this, um, refer us a lead and we'll do a comp split with you easily. I can show you how to refer that if you email me. And if you want to ever write business through Pinney because you have life insurance, we can match the contract that you have had in the past, or we can set you up with contracts so you can be a Pinney insurance broker, and do life insurance in addition to your main line of business. With that said, I want to thank you all for attending today. I really appreciate it. I see a couple of recurring names who come to all of our webinars. So thank you guys so much for being here. If you have any questions about any of this stuff, please, please, please email me. I would love to hear with you and connect with you. And remember that we have that document as well. See you guys soon and have a great day.